For today's project, we'll be changing out this old light fixture for something a little more modern. Inside the package, you'll find everything necessary for the install minus your tools. You have the glass globe wrapped in bubble wrap for protection. Underneath that, you find the light fixture itself and a package of hardware. The hardware has wire nuts, a bracket to mount to an electrical box, and the post to help hold the glass globe up. On the light fixture, if you flip it over, you see there's insulation on the back. That's there to help protect the wires from the heat of the light bulb. Let's grab our tools and get ready. So we need a short A-frame ladder, a pair of lineman pliers, which we'll use to help tighten the wires up with the wire nuts on, our trusty electrical tester to make sure we don't get electrocuted, and a screwdriver. We don't need all the bits, we really only need a Phillips bit for this project. And last but not least, electrical tape. Alright, let's get to work. As usual, before we do anything, we want to turn off the power. So we go to our panel, we find a breaker, switch it off, and then we go ahead and get to work. First thing we're going to do is get our ladder set up. You see my trusty assistant there was helping to make sure it's nice and steady. And I like having all my tools on my ladder. That way I'm not having to bother climbing up and down to get things, just to make the project go a little faster. Let's get to work. Now, the old fixture is held in place with 2 Phillips head screws. We'll take our screwdriver and loosen these screws. You don't have to take them all the way off. We just have to loosen them just enough so that we're able to rotate this fixture. When you look on the fixture, you'll see a slot with a bigger opening. So we're going to rotate the fixture enough so that Phillips head screw will come through the opening and the fixture will come down. Now we find our wires for the fixture. We're going to loosen these wire nuts and disconnect the ground. Before we do that, let's grab our tester and make sure the power is off. Just white wire, nothing there. See it glowing and flashing, power is not off. So you must have hit the wrong breaker. So now we're going to go back and just kill the main breaker. We're going to go ahead to make sure that power is off in the whole apartment. That's why I like to use that tester even though I hit the breaker. So now we're going to go back up here, grab our tester again, and check the wires. It's not flashing and glowing. There's no power. Now we know it's safe to work on. So we're going to remove the tape from these 2 wire nuts and disconnect the wires and get this fixture down. You want to make sure you take your time and unwrap this tape. It could have been up there for decades for all you know. Who knows the last time it was put up there. You want to get the tape off and not just pull on the wire. Get your ground wire off. Now when you're working with a light fixture, you may have a big bundle of white wires, or the neutral wires. Usually the light fixture is the hub for the room. So all the neutrals come from the main neutral up to that box and then branch down to every outlet. Now that I got the old fixture out of the way, I like to get the new fixture ready for install. I prefer to do this down here instead of on the ladder, just because it's simpler to work with. So I'm going to grab my 2 white wires, take the little end pieces off, and then twist those 2 wires together. I'm going to repeat the same process with the black wires, where I pull the little end pieces off, and then twist the 2 black wires together. Now all these new fixtures should come where that end piece is already stripped like that, so you just have to pull that off. If it is not, you can always grab your lineman pliers and strip off the insulation from the wire and exposing the wire underneath. Now this other wire here is your ground. Remember, it's an older building, so there is no other ground wire that will connect directly to the box to ground the fixture. Alright, let's get to our ladder and get to work. Let's get this connected. I prefer to do the black wire first, just because it's the simplest to do. It's the 1 black wire coming out of the ceiling, so the 2 black wires on the back of the fixture. I'm going to twist those 2 black wires around that solid core wire coming out of the ceiling. Once I get it nice and tight around there, I'll grab my wire nut, which I put a little bit out of my reach, but good thing I got long arms. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten that on there as tight as I can. Once it's nice and tight, where it's twisted basically to a stop, I'll give the wire a little test tug. If it doesn't come out, we're good. Now for the fun part. We have to connect the 2 wires from the fixture to that big bunch of white wires in the ceiling. Remember, it's a big bundle of them because every neutral in the section comes through this box. So we'll go ahead, we'll twist our wires around there. We'll grab our wire nut, get it on there. We'll make sure we get that as tight as we possibly can. Remember, it's a little more difficult to do because there are more wires there. Once we get that wire nut on there nice and tight, sorry I'm kind of blocking your view of the fixture. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and give our wires a good test pull. We want to make sure that everything's nice and tight and not going to come off when we put the fixture up. Up, wire came out, means it wasn't in there good enough. So take our wire nut back off. Remember, I said this is the more difficult part. And let's go ahead and try to fish these wires through here a better way. We're going to take them back through here again. Twist it around that big core of wires. Take the other white wire, twist it around there too. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm kind of blocking your view, but I can't get a camera up this high. I'll grab my wire nut again. After I get this thing through here. Almost forgot about that one little wire. There we go. It looks better. So we'll grab our wire nut, get it twisted on there. Make sure we get it twisted on there nice and tight so it doesn't come off. Give our wires a nice little test tug again. Nothing comes loose, so we're fine. So now we take our ground wire and we're just going to wrap this solid copper wire around the bracket up there, which is our ground. Once we get that on there, our connections are made, and we can test everything out. Now we come back and turn our power back on. We're going to hit the main breaker, turn that on. We should hear a nice solid click. Power's on. Make sure you turn the other breaker back on, and we're good to go. So we're going to take our tester and see if we have power. It's glowing. That means there's power in the box. So let's hit our light switch. Light comes on. Everything works. So now all we have left to do is to mount this to the ceiling and get our glass globe on.
Back up here.
Now before we get this mounted, there is one more step. It's very important that we tape our wire nuts.
We want to tape our wire nuts.
We're going to take a little piece of electrical tape and make sure you tape around these wire nuts. It's to make sure they don't accidentally come off. Some electricians tell you don't have to, but when I was a Marine engineer, Coast Guard required it. Ever since then, I've always done it. It's just an extra step of precaution to make sure these wire nuts do not come loose as we're pushing this up against the ceiling. The worst thing that can happen is have that wire nut come loose, have it arc against that box, and then start a small electrical fire. Or at the very least, scare the crap out of you. Now, you may feel more comfortable doing this with the power off, which is perfectly fine. You can hit that breaker again to turn the power off and do this, or you can do it with the power on. Whatever is more comfortable for you. I'm fine with the power on. I've done this with power on a million times before. But please, make sure you tape your wire nuts just to make sure they don't come loose. It's just an extra step. So now here comes the fun part. I always say fun part when it's more difficult. We have to get all these wires up into that little box and then get this fixture up there. So first we're going to pull away the insulation from behind the screw holes. That we'll be able to see through those holes to see where the screw heads are. Remember, we're using the same screws from the old fixture. It's a universal screw, it's universal thread, and it's the same type of setup where the screw heads will punch through and then we twist the fixture. So now we're trying to push these wires up there. You can't just smash them up in there. You want to get them nice and flat, and be careful as you push them up there so you don't take the wires loose. Once you get them flat, we're going to get our screw heads to punch through. It's a little opening. Once it's on there, we'll twist the light fixture and it's latched in place. You can see how it hangs down a little bit because of the issue with those thick wires. It's always an issue, especially when you have such a flat or slim housing as this light fixture in comparison to the old fixture where it's a nice big housing. So we're going to tighten these screws up some to help try to squeeze this fixture a little closer to the ceiling. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference, but it should help it look a little bit better. Then we'll go ahead and get our globe attached. So to attach the globe, we're going to take the post that was inside that little kit of parts, screw it into the center of this fixture. There's a little nut there. We're going to back that nut up some. Then we'll go grab our globe. And we put the center of that post right through the center of the globe. There's a big decorative washer and nut that goes onto there. We tighten that up, and that helps hold our globe up. As we tighten this nut up, it's going to help sit the globe up there nice and tight. Turn the light on, everything still works, and there's your new fixture. Now, in no time at all, we went from this to a much better looking light fixture. I'd like to thank you again for taking the time to watch my video. Please click the subscribe and like button. Also, as usual, in the description you'll find links to the tools that were used for this project. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And I'm looking forward to our next project as soon as I find my very unhelpful assistant.